I learn about technologies during the development of my media product? I feel that I've actually learned quite a lot about technologies during the construction of my media product, especially about editing and lighting during a photo shoot. First thing I'm going to talk about is the editing. During the editing process, we actually use CS5 to edit the photos in Photoshop. And I have actually used Photoshop before, but that was for a different course, and it was also a level 2 course, so it didn't require the amount of technical skills I've actually used in the course for editing the pictures I've used for my AS Media. I've actually developed quite a few new skills during this course. I've used the Refine Edge tool, I've used the Blur and the Dodge tool, just to name a few. For the Refine Edge tool, I actually used that to cut out the model, which was Sarah on the front cover, and I also used that when I was editing the photo of Kate, which was my main article cover, which was, sorry, my main article model. When I was using it for Sarah, it was to make sure that I got every strand of her hair in shot to cut out so that she could go onto the plain background of my front cover. And the plain background was very important because I wanted her on a plain background so she would stand out. And if a hair was as the net effect, which looks really unprofessional, and not every strand of her hair is there and it looks unnatural, then it would have just ruined the complete effect I was trying to go for. So I felt it was very important to cut her out, take time and cut her out professionally. I also used the Burn and Dodge tool on Sarah to change the colour of her eyes, and to change the colour of her eyes and make them a lot brighter than they were. I used what's called the Curves tool, and that was just so I could change her eyes from a dully green colour to a blue colour, and then I brightened them right up, and then to add more depth to them I'd used the Burn tool and the Dodge tool, and that just gave them a really nice natural effect. And I wanted to do that as my main target audience is males, and I felt the female on the front cover had to draw them in, and that is exactly what my target audience said that she did. It said that she was very pretty, and they also said that she drew them into actually reading more about the magazine. My contents page, I learned a lot about technologies and on my contents page. Photoshop made it extremely easy for us to move everything around on the contents page separately, so I could edit the layout really easy, and it was so easy. I found it so easy to do once I'd got the hang of the layering effect on Photoshop. As for Kate, on the main article, I'd used the Refine Edge tool again for Kate. So this meant I could blur the background on what's the grass in the background of Kate, so she stood out a lot more from the background, which again I think is very important when you've got a model modelling for a magazine. And also to create the effect I did with that, when there's 3 of her in the picture, I layered them on top of each other, and this is another instance where the layering effect came in really handy for me personally. I layered the 3 photos on top of each other, and then I used the eraser tool, which meant I could erase the layer, which meant the picture behind it still showed through. So effectively I was erasing the pictures, and then Kate, the model, was coming through the pictures. And I felt this worked really well, and I've had really good feedback from that picture. I've been told by many of my target audience that it looks authentic and that it looks like something you would find in my style model, which was NME, which I was personally really pleased with. The lighting I found was really, I learned a lot about the lighting on during actually taking my photos. As the photos for Kate were outside, there wasn't a lot I could do to control the situations of the lighting. All I could really do was to ensure that we were in a position where it wasn't too, I could only make sure that we went out on a day where the sun wasn't shining too bright, but we also didn't go out in the middle of the night and where it was completely dark. So we found a place where the sun was just like, it was just an overcast day, and we shot it then because that was the best lighting we were going to get outside, and then the rest I would have to do on Photoshop, which I did. I used the I just subtly brightened her up just to bring a bit more life to the photo. As for Sarah, I found I could control the lighting a lot more as we used a studio setup for her, and the lighting was actually on the right side of her, and this meant that after a few photos I took of her, I realised that the lighting had to be on her face to get a better effect. So after a few shots, I realised that the shots were better with the lighting on her face, so I modelled the photos, styled the photos I asked her to take with the lighting on her face or the right side of her body, because if it was shining on her hair, then it wasn't brightening up the photo, which I felt needed to do. So yeah, that's what I've learned from the technologies and how I've progressed through my media, the creation of my media product.